going on, Island Hoppers? Today we're coming to you from Sydney, Australia. We're going to show you the best things to do here in one of the finest cities in the world. First up is Bondi Beach. Known for excellent surfing, beautiful golden sandy beaches. The beach itself is 1 kilometer long, popular with swimmers and sunbathers. You can also do the coastal walk. They hold many events here, so be on the lookout for the Bondi Beach Fest or the City to Surf Fun Run. There's also plenty of dining and shopping around the area, plenty of cafes and bars. Also a popular spot with locals, not just tourists, so if you want a good day in Sydney, come on out. And right next to the Bondi Beach is the Iceberg Pool, which includes 2 outdoor pools, a sauna, and multiple places for sunbathing. It is part of the Bondi Icebergs Club, although it is also open to the public, and it's one of the only places with a license for a winter swimming club. Next up is the Sydney Opera House, which is one of the most iconic and recognizable structures in Sydney and even across the world. Completed in 1970, nowadays it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Around the area you can hang out along the world famous Sydney Harbour. They also have restaurants and cafes here that you can enjoy some evening dining with various different lighting displays. Also, they have the Sydney Symphony Orchestra doing regular concerts here. Another popular area is the Darling Harbour waterfront right here in the heart of Sydney. Popular attractions nearby include the Sea Life Sydney Aquarium, the Madame Tussauds Sydney, as well as the Australian National Maritime Museum, the IMAX, and a really cool Ferris wheel. I suggest coming down to the waterfront here in the afternoon on a weekend or evening time on a Friday or Saturday night for a really great time. Around the area of Darling Harbour, you'll notice they have a lot of different boat traffic, water taxis, and Harbour Tours all out of Darling Harbour here. Next up is the Harbour Bridge, also known as the Coat Hanger. It was completed in 1932. It spans 503 meters across. For those of you seeking an adrenaline rush, they do have a bridge climb that you can experience. You will have to get with a guided tour operator in order to actually experience that. It's not uncommon to get some really great pictures of cruise ships coming into Port Jackson and the Sydney Harbour. Next up is a tour of the actual Sydney Harbour here, which costs anywhere between 40 Aussie dollars all the way up to $70 depending on the ticket you get for hop on, hop off. You can also just simply do a ferry cruise that goes from beach to beach. For example, going from Darling Harbour to Watson's Bay or to the Taronga Zoo. You can get those tickets for around $8.50 or $9 per person, and there is going to be discounts for the elderly and kids, so you can just look into that when you get there, but that's the general pricing. Also, I want to remind you guys, as we're going around Sydney, there is timestamps below in the description, and I will be making more videos from Australia, so do be on the lookout for that. And those will include Perth, Melbourne, as well as Gold Coast. I'll put links to those below in the description. Also, if you're new to Island Hopper TV and you love traveling the world, you may consider subscribing to this channel and liking the video. That helps get us out there making more of these kind of travel videos. Next up is the towering structure known as the Sydney Tower Eye. Now, tickets begin around 33 Aussie dollars in peak season, but they do vary depending on the time of year if it's peak season or not. You get great views of Sydney Harbour as well as Darling Harbour and the heart of Sydney. So really a great experience going up here to the top of the Sydney Eye. And located on the western edge of Greater Sydney, this is the Blue Mountains National Park. It is about a 55-minute drive, or you can also take a train to get out here. And you will notice it's a bit cooler than Lower Sydney and quite the amazing views and a great natural area for those of you who are looking for some mountains and wilderness. While out here, check out Scenic World, the Three Sisters Walk, the Blue Mountains Botanic Garden, and some of the other attractions. Next up, we're going to Sydney's other famous beach. This here is the Manly Beach, known for its golden coastline and amazing surf breaks. There's also several surf schools, rental shops that cater to beginners and experienced surfers. The Manly Wharf is also a popular area with Circular Quay. When I came here, I actually took the ferry from Darling Harbour to the Manly Wharf. Then when I got off the ferry, I just walked the Corso, which is this stretch of mall and shopping bars, boutiques right here. and then you end up at Manly Beach. You'll see it's a very tropical looking beach. Oh, by the way, the best time to visit Sydney is going to be December to February if you want the best weather. That's usually summer high season though, so expect peak pricing. So maybe showing up in October or November for better pricing. Now we're here at the Taronga Zoo. You're obviously going to see a lot of marsupials, kangaroos, koala bears. You're going to see platypus and other animals. This is a popular zoo around the world. Tickets are around 51 AUD for adults and 45 AUD for children. And just check out that cute cuddly koala bear right there. Now we're here at the Rocks. This is a neighborhood that's actually a very historical place to hang out. The first European settlement here was in 1788. Here you'll find cobblestone streets that are narrow, winding all around. Unlike other places in modern Sydney, you'll find historic buildings, some of them dating all the way back to the 1840s. You also have the Rocks Market, museum and galleries. It's very close to the harbor, so you do get some excellent views. There are some events that take place here, like live music events, wine festivals, and on major holidays like New Year's Eve, this is the place to be. Maybe consider getting a walking tour around the Rocks while here. Now here we are at the beautiful Royal Botanic Garden, often referred to as the Sydney Botanical Garden, right here in the heart of Sydney. Originally founded in 1816, it's one of the oldest scientific institutions here in Australia. The collection includes Australian Rainforest Garden, the Succulent Garden, Herb Garden, and the Fernery. You may find some unique birds like cockatoos, kookaburras, or even flying foxes. Now here we are at the Art Gallery of New South Wales, and this one's for the art lovers. And the good news is the admission here is free for most exhibitions and events. They also have some high-priced art on exhibit here. You can easily do the art museum, the botanical garden, and the Sydney Opera House all in the same day. Walking around here, these attractions are very close to each other. And one more I want to include that's nearby is the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. It is a music school that is one of the oldest and most prestigious music schools in all of Australia. Originally started in 1817. Just a quick fact about Sydney, it has around 5.4 million people, making it the largest city in Australia. Now here we are at Luna Park. This is an old historical park dating all the way back to the 1930s, so if you're looking for an interesting experience along the harbour, do check this one out. And when you're in Sydney, consider riding the public transportation that includes trains, as well as the subway, the light rail system. The SkyTrain actually got shut down that you're looking at right now, but on a bright side, there is a lot of surfing that can be done here, and as we mentioned previously, getting surf lessons. Australia is known around the world for its great surf, and a lot of people do get out there in that water. One of the things that always is in the back of my head when swimming in New South Wales or anywhere in Australia is what is in the water around here, because they do have some large predators in the water, so pay attention to the signs. Next up is the Grand Pacific Drive. This is sea cliffs. If you're looking for a beautiful excursion, this is going to be the drive that you're going to want to check out if you've got a rental car or van. Here's a water taxi. I do recommend this as a preferred method getting to and from the bay. It's going to be a little bit more cheap and much more scenic. The only time I wouldn't do it is on a cold day crossing that harbor, because it can get quite brisk. Now here we are at the Queen Victoria building. This is a shopping mall, very scenic from the outside. It's right here in the heart of the CBD. CBD stands for Central Business District. You'll see this all over Australia. Originally opened in 1898, it underwent a renovation in 1986. And a nice area to walk around is going to be the downtown CBD. That stands for Central Business District. You'll see a lot of trees with purple flowers. Those are jacarandas. Next up is learning about the Aboriginal culture. You'll see them using these instruments like a didgeridoo, also having boomerangs and other Aboriginal crafts. So really appreciating and admiring the indigenous people. Now let's talk about the local food. Expect lots of steak as well as lamb shank and lamb chops. Very delicious, which is locally sourced and free range. They also have Vegemite, which is a spread you put on sandwiches, and meat pie. If you've never tried a meat pie, I would highly recommend doing that, at least down here. You've also heard of shepherd's pie in Ireland. Well, that's mostly where the meat pies down here come from. You can get them even at convenience stores. They also have some great shawarma and doner kebab. So Sydney is definitely an international cuisine city. You'll find Chinese dim sum, Korean, Japanese ramen. Really a great city for all of that. And of course, pizza. And now for my final review of Sydney. So I would suggest that you either arrive into Australia through this gateway or you exit out of here, because this is probably the best airport that I experienced while in Australia. But when you come down here, definitely check out some more of the other areas like Queensland or Victoria, or even going to the Western Territory and visiting Perth and Margaret's River. In the south, they have Adelaide, which is another one to check out, Brisbane and Gold Coast. As far as Sydney goes, I would also consider checking out an area called King's Cross. That's a really cool neighborhood. We didn't include that one in this guide, but definitely try to add King's Cross to the list, as well as Chinatown. And thank you to everyone for watching this episode of Island Hopper TV from Sydney, Australia, out here in New South Wales. We'll see you guys on the next one.